lower it to the level of a 4-year-old and talk about the deepest things like Aragonus, that you could see me so full but so full. And that, for somebody that knows, that read a lot and learned a lot, just bringing up the concept Aragonus could remind you of many Sipurei Tzadikim that you see clearly that they were able to see Misofa Olam Ba'at Sofa. And that alone can be very interesting. That you see there were tzaddikim that had no gevul to what they saw. They knew what was going on in the end of the world. And that might remind, I'm just giving examples how you could jump from subject to subject. And once you talk about Aragonas, which you see Misofa Olam Ba'at Sofa, that would remind me of the Zela Umazeh of the Aragonas, which is the internet, where you could see all the Ra that's Misofa Olam Ba'at Sofa. And that's the whole subject in itself. We know of somebody that has a site where he's mamish Omed Bebolo V'Ra Nevela B'Eretz Yisrael, like the Gemara says in Chulin. There's a certain Oftome that he stands in Bolo, and he sees a Nevela in Eretz Yisrael. Now look how many, when you're not under pressure to teach, to say the word, you're not looking to say the word. You're not looking to take a word and report it to the people. You're looking to make stimulating Torah-dic conversation. The word that you have to say is only a way to begin the conversation. Like I just demonstrated to you. Yeah, it's a very short word from the Gra. But there's so many nakudas that you could take off from as you're going. It's like you have I think in America there's a highway and there's exits. That you could exit here, you could exit there, you could exit the next place, and then you go off to a whole different place. And all that, for a class, it's not legitimate. But for a Shabbos table, it is legitimate. And I said before, it happened to me many, many times that I had prepared and thought about something, thought a lot about something sometimes. And then when I started saying it, I started saying the introduction, the pasuk, the parsha that it goes on, and talking about that. I never got to say the word, because as soon as I started talking about the yesodis, the background, so people started asking this and that, and others got into, and then became a whole conversation. I never got a chance to say the word, and while we had the conversation, I was stimulated to say certain other things. I never got a chance to say it, and it didn't bother me. And that's how it was meant to be. That's the mitzvah so bekach, like the Gemara says. Through all this, everybody is able to take part. It becomes what we call hamon chogeg. There's a pasuk in Tehillim Mem Beis, hamon chogeg.
And Tikkun HaKlal, you mean?
Well, and David HaMelech wrote the Tehillim. He took a certain prokim out of the Tikkun HaKlali and he put them in the Tehillim, right? Yeah. So it's Tikkun HaKlali, but David HaMelech put it into the Tehillim. So doesn't it say there Hamon Chogeg? Hamon Chogeg, when it's talking about the Bnei Korach, talking about when we were over L'Rega was Hamon Chogeg. That means a lot of people, a multitude that are celebrating. You could feel the bubbling, the chiyus. You could feel chiyus in the air from all the people. But if the Father is teaching and he's telling you about how stupid you are for believing in the Golem Prague, so then everybody's sitting there and just listening to what he says, and it's not echod. It's not echod. It's very good, it's wonderful, he's teaching very important ideas, but that's not the echad that the Shabbos was meant. When it comes to the Ata Echad, the Shimcha Echad, There's no me and there's no you and there's no teacher and there's no Talmud. It's all echad. It's all berozad echad. Umike amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. Lasid lavu, the pasuk says in Yoel. V'hoya achrei chen v'shafachti es ruchi al kol bosor. V'nibu b'neichem uvnosechem. There's going to come a time Hashem is going to pour His ruach on everybody. And even the young children are going to say Nevuah. When it comes that time, there's not going to be a me and a you. It's going to be, everybody's going to be equal. It says, V'lo yelamdu od, it's a posik in one of the Nevim, for yelamdu od, ishus re'eh le'ma du'es Hashem, ki kulam yedu osi. Everybody's going to go straight and be mikabel straight from Hashem. I said one time, if you look in the Parshas Amadis of today's Parsha, so by most of them it says Daber b'nei Yisrael. By Yom Kippur it does V'em Hashem al Moshe V'em Hashem Yisrael Emor Ach Be'el HaChodesh HaShvi Az Yom HaKippurim. It doesn't say Daber b'nei Yisrael. So I said, because when it comes to Yom Kippur, since it's Me'ein de La'osid, it's the Or of Olam Haba, where over there it says there won't be Chet anymore. So when it comes to the, how's it saying, Pasuk, I forgot, right? The Pasuk we say it on Yom Kippur, that it'll be what? Bayom ha'u yevukash avon Yisrael ve'inenu v'chatos Yudav lo simtzoenu. So that Or of Tzaddik says that Or of Yom Kippur is shining backwards into our Yom Kippur of now. So when it comes to that, so then there's no madregas, everybody's equal then. There's no Moshe ben Daber b'nei Yisrael. It's goes straight. That was a Moshe Achbos without mentioning b'nei Yisrael, because then everybody is going to be equal. So there's no Seder Mishnah. Then there's a Moshe ben that he's teaching. There's no teaching. It's just one. It's all one. So I'm saying the Mela like that. That should be the sheaf of the Shabbos table. Now, what'll be if you didn't have time to prepare? So on the spot, you take and you read a Rashi, you say a Rashi, and you should try to be smart enough to be able to ask something on the Rashi. Or you try to remember something that you once heard. The key is make it stimulating. Don't just say over like a tape recorder. If you didn't prepare, it's a lot harder to make it stimulating. But you could, if you say slow, if you analyze things, you take things apart, just like I just did. You say Parshas Hamados, and then you start saying the word. First, let's analyze, what does it mean, Parshas Hamados? It means the Yom Tovim. Did we have it before? So no. Where are we holding in the Torah? I said over half of the Torah, and we didn't mention it till now. What does Yom Tov mean? Yom Tov. I mean, and you say all these things. Well, while you're saying it, then people who learned, we're talking about people who learn. So b'derech memela, things will come into their head, and then they'll have what to say. It'll become a matzav. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, there are some people who they learn halacha at the Shabbos Torah. They say a halacha, which is definitely a very good thing. But even then, when you start saying the halacha, not to make it like you're teaching and starting from the sources and getting to halacha. Better is to make a story out of it. You could say the lamdas, the svaras, but make it sound more like a story. I guess somebody got a cut on Shabbos, if he could put a bandage on it. He was going and he got cut, and some kind of a story, and then say what you and you'll see, if you do it that way, you can take the halachas that sound the most dry, and even that you can make interesting. Like talking about tochen, about cutting up carrots or other things, or onions before the meal, and talking about what it feels like to be a wife and in the kitchen and cutting up and preparing, and what it feels like being a husband waiting for a wife that it takes her an hour and a half to make a salad, and they all have to sit around there waiting. at the Shabbos day, which I've seen such things, which I don't understand till today how it's possible. And how you have to work on your midas and have savlonas for such a wife. And because it's saying the halachic, the most halachas that look the most dry, they can become mamish, alive and interesting. Lefi daiti, this is the best way to run a Shabbos table. I'm not saying to anybody kablu daiti, but I think this talk can be a big toelis for many people, and I hope it will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Kaplan. Thank you.